Cruise news time. Well, how about this? Couple forced to quarantine on cruise despite negative tests. Also, Royal Caribbean moving sick crew members to other cruise ships. And we got some international cruise news. Cruise news! Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news updates. Welcome back to the show. What is today? I need a calendar right in front of me. It's the 7th. It's the 7th of January, a Friday, I believe. And it's been a good day here already, a little late getting into the work today because I went to Weight Watchers. I know some people like to watch my weight and comment and have good thoughts for me, and some people maybe not some good thoughts, but yeah, Big T and the whole La Lido Loca experience, trying to work on our health this year because we just realized the only thing that's holding us back from our best life now is our health. So many other great things going on. And yeah, so look, we got a weight loss channel over there called Have to Lose. I will be revealing my new 2022 look, my 2022 weight, my very first weigh-in. It'd been a while since I weighed in. I will be revealing my new weight, my new hot weight over there on Have to Lose. So if you're curious about any of that, I'm not going to be talking about weight loss much here on this channel, but you can go over to Have to Lose. Have to Lose. I'll leave a link in the description, and I'll have a video up over there probably like 3 o'clock if you want to see how much I weigh. All right, that's the housekeeping. Well, the other thing I want to say housekeeping-wise is had a really great live show last night with Matt from Royal Caribbean blog. It was really, the guy is so solid when it comes to just the cruise experience, when it comes to Royal Caribbean, and I enjoyed the fact that I was able to hit him with some real specific questions about Royal Caribbean. If you didn't get to see that live show last night, I would highly recommend it to you if you are interested in Royal Caribbean or just interested in somebody who has been getting it done in cruising for a while. I'll leave that linked above. I always choose the wrong hand. It's over here. I'll leave that linked above if you want to go see that show from last night. Okay, 4 big cruise news stories. I'll give you a big one on the front end. I'll give you a big one on the back end. I'll give you the couple quarantined even with a negative test on the back end. And so let's talk about the thing that's finally been verified. I've seen this bouncing around the internet here, there, and everywhere. Royal Caribbean, are they taking sick crew members off of cruise ships and putting them on cruise ships with no passengers? And is this one of those, clutch our pearls kind of moment? They are doing it. They verified it to USA Today. They're saying, yes, we are taking sick crew members off of cruise ships and we're putting them onto the Vision of the Seas and the Rhapsody of the Seas for their 10-day quarantine. So Vision of the Seas and Rhapsody of the Seas, they're not currently in service with paying passengers. And so those ships are there, with a crew getting ready to go into service. And so they made the decision. And if you've ever been on Royal Caribbean, especially during the restart, you go to Coco Cay sometimes and you'll look off in the distance and there will be other cruise ships moored out there. It's like Coco Cay is kind of the meeting spot. And so that's what's happened is some of these Royal Caribbean cruise ships that have had isolated crew members that are working through their quarantine, they've been moved off of that ship onto one of those ships that are not in service. Is that a big deal? Is that not a big deal? To me, that just seems smart to utilize the resource that they have there. They can get everybody isolated together. They can work on spreading the crew out a little bit. There's not a lot of space in crew quarters, and so at least on these big wide open cruise ships that are not in service, they can do isolation probably in a way that's more efficient and get these crew members through their 10-day isolation. All the crew members that are impacted, vaccinated, everything that we're hearing, mild symptoms or asymptomatic, and it's just a process of getting them through their quarantine, clearing them from the virus, and then allowing them to go back to their normal cruise ships. And what about this? What if they're doing it so that they have less cases on the cruise ships with passengers, allowing those cruise ships to go to ports of call that may be turned away because there's too many crew cases? Is that evil? Again, it's smart. Cruise passengers want to go to ports of call if there's a reasonable way to get crew members off of the cruise ship so that they can quarantine safely somewhere else and allow the cruise to go forward. What am I missing here? I've seen it on some corners of the internet like it's some crazy thing, but I don't see it that way. So there you go. That's a big cruise news story. Now let me hit you with some international cruise news. Granada. Do you guys know Granada? I don't know Granada too much. I know that that's an island fairly south in the Caribbean that sometimes cruise ships from the US will go there, but sometimes cruise ships from Europe will go there. Sometimes that's the starting place for cruises. Just the announcement, they compiled some information. Over a 9-day period, they turned away 5 cruise ships. So this is another example of a port keeping up with the amount of cases on board and the case count being too high, and they're turning away cruise ships. We had another story of Puerto Vallarta turning cruise ships away. And so again, it's not every cruise ship going to every port being turned away. I continue to get reports from people saying, we went to this port, we didn't go to this port, we went to all of our ports, we didn't go to any of our ports. That's the way cruising is right now. Not hitting 100% of the ports, but not missing 100% of the ports all the time either. So it's it's turbulent. Let's just say that. But Granada, I just wanted to point out Granada was another one of those ports that were turning people away. And then Hong Kong, based on what we've talked about over the last couple of days, they're trying to keep Omicron locked down in Hong Kong, and they feel like the best way to do that is to keep people on land. And so they have canceled all cruising for the next 2 weeks in Hong Kong as they try to get their hands around what's going on with Omicron. That's affecting Dream Cruises, Royal Caribbean, Spectrum of the Seas, that kind of stuff. Hong Kong have been doing cruises to nowhere, fairly regular schedule, but being as cautious as possible, shutting down cruising for 2 weeks. I know there's going to be people that dig this next story. It's like a twofer. Sometimes people say, why don't you talk about Princess Cruise Lines? I have to throw the disclaimer in here. Whatever your favorite cruise line is, if I'm not talking about it, there's probably just not a lot of news going on it, or it's a cruise line that doesn't have a broad audience, right? I'm only a limited amount of time here where I can talk about stuff, but I'm trying to incorporate more stuff. So this cruise news story, it's a twofer. We're going to talk about Princess Cruises, and we're going to talk about Hawaii. Finally, it is happening. The first cruise ship to go to Hawaii in 2 years will be there on the 9th of January, 2 days from now. The first cruise ship, it's the Grand Princess. Dun, 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 dun. That's really the whole story. I just want to make a big deal about the fact that Hawaii is opening up. I've talked about this, trying to answer questions. Do you think my cruise will go? Do you think this will happen? The best indicator that things will happen is when things happen. And so now we see this cruise ship going to Hawaii. If that happens, that's going to be great. There's Carnival cruise ships making their way to Hawaii, other ships making their way to Hawaii. And so as we start to see these cruise ships making their stops in Hawaii, that's a good indicator that if you've got a Hawaiian cruise in February, March, that's what you want to see. And so, just a big shout out to Princess, a big shout out to the islands of Hawaii. Looks like cruising is returning. Yeehaw! I'm a cowboy. That's a good thing. Okay. It's so frenetic, man. I'm just trying to hit it as hard and as fast as possible so I can get this show up to you. Did you get it by 12:15? Did I hit it? It's been a busy morning. All right, one more big cruise news story. Couple quarantined even after testing negative. Holy crap, what's going on? I'm going to share it with you. But first, let me quickly invite you to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you like staying up to date with everything that's going on in cruising. You guys like that, don't you? Please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Thank you in advance. Welcome to everybody that's joined over the last few days. The Loca fam just keeps growing by leaps and bounds. By the end of the year, we'll have a lot of people. And much love to the Loca fam. Thank you in advance. Subscribe, notification bell. All right. Let me show you the headline and look at it with disdain. I'm gonna show you the headline, and this is the look I'm gonna have on my face as I'm reading it. Couple forced to quarantine on cruise ship despite negative COVID test. Oh no, what happened? If you're negative, you shouldn't be locked down. They use the word prison in this article. Give me a freaking break. Here's the story. Couple goes on cruise. They test twice to get on the cruise, an antigen test and a PCR test. And prior to the cruise, they test negative on both of those tests. That's the negative test in the headline. They get on the cruise, they go and they cruise a little bit, they go to the main theater, they watch a show, and bada boom, bada bing, they're in close proximity with someone who tests positive for the virus. That makes them a close contact. The cruise line has identified them as a close contact, and then according to protocol, they have to isolate those people to their room until they can be cleared. So they're quarantined to their room because they're a close contact of somebody who has tested positive for COVID. That's what you want the cruise ship to do. Now, these people are like, oh, I can't believe that happened to us. People, if you're cruising right now, it could be disruptive. Tell a friend. How do people not know this? I'm so shocked that once I was identified as a close contact, I couldn't run naked through the hallways. These news stories are driving me nuts, but I do like the clicky headlines. I'm going to use them as much as I can. I'm going to use their tools against them. If you're cruising right now, you run the risk of missing ports. You run the risk that not everything's going to be open, venues, entertainment. You run the risk that you might be identified as a close contact. You run the risk that cruising might not be as normal. And man, if that is stressing you out on the front end and you can get out of your cruise, get out of your cruise. But if you can take all of that in and you can go, whatever happens, happens. If I'm quarantined, I'm getting free room service or whatever, go cruising. But for goodness sakes, don't go to some news outlet and poo-poo, oh, I can't believe that I got locked down. I understand their frustration, but how do you go cruising right now in the middle of everything that's going on with everything being reported and be surprised that you got isolated when you were a close contact? Is this rocket science? Is it? How do you travel and not know this? And maybe I'm too close to the forest to see the trees. I'll accept that. But look, my disdain aside, the cautionary tale, if you're cruising right now, things could happen, including being identified as a close contact and being quarantined to your room. But it's not as the title says. They weren't forced into quarantine because of their negative COVID test. They were forced into quarantine because they were exposed to somebody that tested positive for the virus. Sheesh. Sheesh. What's the word? All right. That's it. Boom. That's your cruise news. Did you get it? Did you love it? Did you feel it? Man, I'm having such a good Friday. Leave a comment below. What do you think about all this stuff? Have you been to Granada? I would love somebody to give me a Granada report. Thank you so much for watching the show today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please show your support for Lido Loca for this effort by hitting the like button. And if you don't, I'm going to be salty and I will have to punish you in some way. And if you're one of those people that like to be punished, this ain't the right channel. But look, you hit the like button or I'm going to tell your mailman that you're going to be gone for a month and not to deliver your mail. How about that? How will you get the latest Lego catalog? This is Tony for Lido Loca. Until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.